talk 9K and above. At the end of the day, you got to get the 9K range right. You also got to find some leverage here. If you're talking GPPs, tournaments, 42-man field, leave some salary on the table. Okay, be creative with your lineup construction. Leave some salary on the table if you're in a huge GPP. Don't get duped. And think through ownership. Ownership is going to matter almost as much as anything, actually more than anything, if you're playing in a large field GPP. Single entry, 3 max, I don't care if it's 2,000 people or 2,000 entries or more. That's what you got to think through is ownership. I'm going to go ahead and go with DJ. I'm not going to bet DJ, but I will play him in DFS. I'll spend up on DJ. I like some names in the 6K range. I think I can pair him just fine. I think last year, actually, the perfect lineup would have had 2 or 3 guys in the 6K or low 7K range. So it can happen. I'm going to roll with DJ. I'm going to roll with Xander, who I mentioned on the betting portion. Love the iron play. Love the record here. I feel like he's got that dog in him this week, so I'm going to go Xander. And then I'm going to go with Webb Simpson. So I'm going to play the shorter hitter, but a great player in the wind. Good record here as well. Those are my 3 tournament plays. I would definitely say Xander is a cash lock if you're into that sort of thing. And I'm fading Bryson, man. I wrote it down. Poor wedge player. Not great if you look at historically his play in windy AF conditions on fantasynational.com/TJ. Anything windy AF is 17-mile-an-hour winds or more, and Fantasy National has that data. And Bryson DeChambeau sucks in that wind, which could be 2 days of this 4-day tournament. -1 strokes gained approach over his last 10 events. How about that? Last 10 events, he is -1 stroke in strokes gained approach, and he's lost 3.2 strokes tee to green at Kapalua in his 2 attempts here. So I think Bryson is a clear fade, although you liked him in the betting market. So that's my 9K and above range.
Did you give 3 GPPs or 2?
3. DJ, Xander, Webb.
Okay. Well, I like Bryson. He's one of my GPP plays this week. I mean, obviously he's going to check the box off the tee. He is a definite scorer. He putts well on Bermuda grass. Yes, I do agree the approach game does worry me. But I still think he has as big an advantage on this course as anybody in this field. We've seen it. So I'm all in on Bryson. And I wonder what his ownership is going to be actually too. Because, a lot of people got burned by him because everybody, it was either you had to make that decision with him to go all in during the Masters or not. And a lot of folks got burned. I wonder if his ownership is going to be a little bit lower than it should be. So I'm going to play some Bryson. I mentioned Cantlay as well when we talked about some picks. I like him at 9,800. Checks a box and approach off the tee. Top 5 here last year. So I do like Cantlay at 9,800. I like Victor Hovland at 9,200. He's another guy across the board. When you look at the stats that work well in this course, he definitely checks the box there. Won just a couple months ago at the Mayakoba. So he's coming in pretty good form. So I like Hovland as well at 9,200. And I had one fade, and that is going to be Jon Rahm at 10-4. Now look, I know it's bold. I'm going bold.
Yeah, that's bold
2021. But look, we know he's changing the equipment. So I think that could be somewhat of a factor. And I still think he's going to be pretty high in this week. So I'm going to fade some Rahm. I know that's way out there.
I think it's purely an ownership play, and I get it if you want to do that. We'll see how the ownership shakes out. I like Rahm here. I don't care about the equipment change. These guys test this equipment long before they put it in play.
Ask Justin Rose that.
He went to Hanma. Like, that's a little different. Like he went to black market golf equipment. I mean, Hanma's not bad.
You can't say equipment doesn't matter. I mean, look at all these these PXG people that just can't get together when they go there.
True, this isn't PXG. I mean, it's Callaway. Taylor made a Callaway. I don't even know really what the difference is. I actually think his ball is going to be worse. I think the golf ball is going to be worse for him, but I don't think it's going to matter.
What if he does something like he just crushes a ball that he normally wouldn't have with his crappy TaylorMade driver, and he's all out of sorts, and then we don't know what's going to happen the rest of it.
All right, let's get to the AK range. 2 tournament plays here for me. I'm hoping I get a little ownership leverage here. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I'm going to go with Daniel Berger. I talked about him in the betting portion. I like Berger a lot here. He loves Bermuda, ball striker, can play well in the wind. I think he's probably pretty pumped to be back here at the Tournament of Champions. He currently 96th in the FedEx Cup. Not a big deal. It's early in the season, but I think it's something that you kind of look at it and go, let me get up there in the FedEx Cup. I'm tired of seeing Stewart sink in the top 5, right? But he has played here twice, finished 14th, finished 11th, checks a lot of boxes in terms of ball striking. I like Berger. And then my boy Joaquin Neiman, who finished 5th here last year in his first time out. He's a first-timer there. Long hitter, can take advantage off the tee, can hit it low if it gets windy. And I think Neiman's got a really good shot here, and I love the value that I get for him down at the bottom of the near the bottom of the 8K range at $8,300. I like Joaquin Neiman a lot. My fade here is going to be Abe Answer, first timer, really short off the tee, very short hitter, probably one of the shortest in the field. He's really thankful Brian Gay's here, or else he'd be the shortest guy in the field. I think Brian Gay's actually picked up some yardage, I heard. Bermuda is clearly his worst putting surface, and Abe makes a lot of strokes up on the putting greens. Bermuda's his worst if you look historically. He's 30th in strokes gained approach and 34th in opportunities gained over the last 24 rounds in this field of 42. Okay, so 30th and 34th out of 42 over the last 24 rounds equals no bueno for our boy Abraham Answer. And he doesn't do well on par 5s. I think he's an easy fade.
Okay, well, I'll start off with that then so that we can move quickly. And Answer was also my fade, so for all the reasons that you said.
Nice.
So I'm with you there. You didn't mention Finau, which I guess you did in the betting side. So, but he's one of my GPP plays at 8,900. I love him this week. It would be just so Tony Finau-esque to win the first tournament of this year.
I love it. I hope he does.
Take this whole monkey off his back about that he can't win
a tournament that he shouldn't really be in. Too.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. It's kind of like Ohio State. No, just kidding. They did this too well against Clemson. I gotta give them credit against Clemson, but they only played.
Put it on them.
But anyway, they played great. Okay, I don't want to get into that discussion, but I like Finau. He definitely, off the tee approach, scoring. He's second in the field in par 5 scoring, so I like him this week. And then Scotty Scheffler also at 8,500. Another guy, you look at the stats this week. He is 4th in the field off the tee. He's 14th in opportunities gained, checks the box in par 5 scoring as well. So I love some Scheffler at 8,500. Would you like me to start with the 7K range, DB?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm going to start with a guy that you mentioned on the betting side, and that is Mr. Cam Champ at 7,900. Absolutely love him this week. He could be in 90% of my lineups. I just think that this is a great fit for him. I'm just kidding. It's not going to be 90%, but it's going to be high. I love Cam Champ this week.
Actually, let me stop you there. I don't hate it. Let's take a stand this week. It may be one of those weeks with a short field event. We haven't talked about this. With a short field event, 42 people, no cut, first event of the year. And, it may not be a bad idea to scale back the bankroll a little bit if you're playing DFS. I think in betting, you can fire away. But I do think in terms of DFS, if you want to scale back the bankroll, I get it. But whatever you do play, take a stand, and narrow down that player pool. Don't have a ton of exposure to these guys. If you normally play in full field events and you have exposure to 18 guys, right? Don't have 18 guys this week because it's a 42-man event. Scale it down and commit, and just know that you're going to have, heavier exposure numbers to these guys because there's so less players in the field. So I think that's if you have 90% Cam Champ, that's a lot, but I don't think it's astronomical.
Yeah, I think you're right though. I think that is definitely the strategy you got to look at, especially in a short field like this. So Cam Champ, like him. Also, I mentioned Jason Kokrak. I like him also at 7,300. Now I kind of started switching this to Munoz. So I'll throw Sebastian as sort of, Kokrak, and they're right there together for me. But I like them both. I think this is a good course fit, though, for Jason Kokrak. When he won his first tournament just a few months ago, it was in a no-cut event. So a little less pressure to make the cut. I think he's an aggressive player. We know that about Kokrak, so I like that as well. My fade is Brennan Todd at 7,200. I just don't think Brennan Todd is a course for him at all. Okay. So there you go.
I wrote down 2 names. One was Cam Champ. There you go. A lot of agreement there. The last one is a guy down there at the bottom. I think you get a nice nice little price break on at 7K. Ryan Palmer. I mentioned him in the betting portion as a possible top 10 bet at 4-1. Palmer finds himself here again, thinking like, "Whoa, what am I doing here? I shouldn't be here." Yeah, thanks. He finished 17th here last year, getting in because of the win at the Zurich Championship with John Rahm. But Ryan Palmer is a player that hits it a long way, so he checks a box in distance, par 5 scoring. He checks that box. Pretty middle of the pack in terms of approach and opportunities gained. His best putting surface is Bermuda, which we get here. I don't know. I think Palmer gives you some win equity. Now, last year he finished 17th on the leaderboard, but he finished 12th in DraftKings scoring. So I think from a DFS standpoint, he's an aggressive player. He scores well. And if it does get windy, he can play in the wind. He's a pretty good wind player if you look historically on Fantasy National. And he's a Texas boy. Those Texas boys like to win. I think you get a really good price break with Ryan Palmer. In fact, I would roll Ryan Palmer in cash. I would go this low in cash if you wanted to for Ryan Palmer. So Champ and Palmer for me. My fate is Billy Ho. Out of the 42-man field event over the last 24 rounds, he's 35th in strokes gained approach, 32nd in par 5 scoring, 27th in driving distance. And he's only gained minus 3.42 strokes gained total here in 2 attempts at the Sentry Tournament of Champions. So I think I will avoid some Billy Horschel. Finally, the 6K range, Pat, in terms of DFS. I got 3 names. It's the same 3 names I talked about in the betting side. They're really the only 3 names in the 6K I will consider, and that is Lanto Griffin, Sebastian Munoz, and Martin Laird. All 3 of these gentlemen have actually played here before. Martin Laird hasn't played in a while, but he did have a runner-up finish in 2012. We just saw him win the Shriners Hospitals for Children Open in October. Good ball striker, good win player, hits it long enough. Martin Laird, 6,400. You get a nice price break there. I know we both like Sebastian Munoz, who we saw finish 17th here last year, who had a
7,500.
Oh, I'm sorry, 7,500. Oh, I thought it was 6K. My bad. Well, I like Munoz. Oh,
I did too.
That's fine. I looked at the wrong. I looked at the wrong thing. I was actually thinking, where is it? Stuart Sink. Sorry, Sink, Griffin, and Laird. I like Sink, Griffin, and Laird in the 6K. My bad. 6,600 for Sink. I'm rusty.
Old guy Sink,
but the dude's gained a freaking mile. He's gained so much. Do you know? Let me just tell you. In the last 24 rounds, okay, in this field, I might have blow your mind. In the last 24 rounds, Stuart Sink ranks 11th in driving distance. 11th.
I can't even believe that.
Dustin Johnson, John Rahm, Xander Schauffele, Tony Finau, Scotty Scheffler, all these guys in this field, he ranks 11th in the field in driving distance. Like, Sink has put on a lot of distance lately, and it's paid off for him. Like, we saw his fall. I think it's $6,600. Like, it's a decent steal in DFS. If he finishes top, it's very likely he could finish top 10. You know, it's very likely. You get a top 10 out of him, you're going to kill it. So I like Lanto, Sink, and Laird.
All right. Well, I have Lanto as well, and also like Kevin Na at 6,700. He's actually been in pretty good form. Huh?
Kevin No for me. That's a name.
I like him. I like Na. I think he's going to play well this week. You know, checks the box, and he's in good form. Opportunities gained. Bermuda is his best surface putting. We know the guy can just get hot with a putter. So I like some Kevin Na there at 6,700. So there you go. That completes my 6K plays.
Praise God. Praise God. Hope everybody enjoyed the DFS portion. Let's